Hi, and welcome to AXSchat. We're delighted to have Valerie and Sarah Strohl with us today. Sarah has her own TV show, cookery program called Sarah's Great Day. It's really exciting to have you with us. Been really pleased to have you joining us on Twitter, and now to have you with us in person. It's absolutely fantastic. So, can you explain a little bit about your show and what you're doing and all of the good work that you're putting out there?
Yeah, it's called Sarah's Great Day. It's after Sarah.
Yep.
And what we do is we have our own YouTube channel called Sarah's Great Day also. And we, when we make cooking shows, we basically try to incorporate therapies, but on a very, very low level. It's mostly, we're just having a good time in the kitchen. We're making foods that we both love. Sometimes we have guests.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or we have Michael.
Yeah.
Which
Michael
Daly, who we love, Sarah's friend. And we just have a great time and really kind of try to put just a very comfortable spin, I guess, or whatever, on disabilities. It's just not a big deal,
And it's a great show. I've watched a couple.
Thank you.
You're our first guest with Down syndrome. It's a great honor to have you here. So, and it's great to see what you're doing. So,
well, thank you.
Welcome. Deborah, I know this is obviously close to home for you, so you're going to have plenty of questions. So I'm going to hand over and let you ask your first one.
Well, thank you, Neil, and welcome, Sarah and Valerie. We really are excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
As many people know, I also have a daughter with Down syndrome, and her name is Sarah also. She spells it a little differently from you, and I think our families in some ways have a lot in common. Worked really hard to create the advocacy and make sure that everybody has a voice and that everybody can be included. So we were so excited to learn about your cooking show and all of the different things that you're doing. So I would like to know more about the cooking show. I mean, how many episodes have you done? Do you have sponsors? Are you looking for sponsors? We'd really like to know more about your cooking show and the plans for your cooking show too.
Well, we are actually putting out our 42nd episode this week.
Yeah.
We do have sponsors for the show. We have 2 local sponsors that are in the disability arena. But yeah, we are always looking for more sponsors. It's kind of a catch-22 situation, is that in order to be big enough and have enough followers to get a larger sponsor like a Kraft or a KitchenAid or a GE appliance or something like that, you have to have the followers. But to get the followers, you need someone like a GE, KitchenAid, OXO or something like that. And so it's just kind of a game. You got to try to figure it out and put things out there that people like. And yeah. And, we're a small operation. Our production crew is made up of high school students that with and without disabilities. So, we have school schedules, we have illness, it would be really nice to have a professional crew that, you could always say every Tuesday we're going to shoot and stuff like that. And that's what being in that bigger sponsorship area would help us with. But I also love our kids, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. We love our kid crew.
I think it's great that it's done by the kids anyway. I think it's one of the really nice things.
Yeah.
We're certainly homespun because we can totally relate to doing everything ourselves. It's a string and glue job here. Everything's held together with little bits of string and little bits of glue as we try and do it as our best to look professional.
Right.
But yes, it's very much a case of trying to get that momentum and hopefully, by doing things like AXSchat will help you gather greater momentum. So I've got a question for you, Sarah.
Yeah, sure.
What's your favorite thing about doing your show?
Well, the show is fun.
Yeah, it is fun. Yeah. What else do you like to do, Sarah? What do you like on the show? What's your favorite thing about it?
To
You like it when your friends are on?
Dave Hall, Mo, Tessa Keen, and Rebecca Hurd.
Yeah, I think she loves it when her friends are on the show.
Food?
Yeah.
Sarah, do you like cooking certain foods over other foods? Like maybe sweets and desserts, or?
Well, happily, I made brownies.
Yeah. You like sweets, don't you?
Yeah.
We all do. That's
I do too.
She loves, you love Parmesan chicken, right?
Yeah.
But, that's a little bit harder to make. So what she really enjoys is like we made blueberry frozen yogurt and, just lots of sweets we have made. And those are always a lot of fun, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say that, you like to see the smiles of your friends when they are eating those brownies.
Yeah. She really liked it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's so important, which I think like blueberry yogurt was like 38 or 39 episode. Frozen blueberry lemon yogurt, and she did it with her really good friends from Best Buddies, and it's just touching. It's just heartwarming, and when you watch it, it just kind of makes you feel good inside. The world's okay. It's a good world.
Yeah.
I watched that episode, so I thought it was great, and so you do quite a bit of stuff with Best Buddies, but can you tell us a bit about Best Buddies, because it's not something that we're familiar with in the UK. It's obviously something that's American.
You know what? It is actually global. It was started by Anthony Shriver from the Kennedy family, Anthony Kennedy Shriver. It's 25 years old, but we have Canadian affiliates, we have Egyptian, some South America groups. But what it does is it takes typical kids, so kids without intellectual disabilities, and pairs them up with kids that do have disabilities. And for example, in our school, a quarter of the students in our school are in this program. And so Sarah has like 17, 18 buddies. So, and not all of them become really close friends with that large of a group, but she has made real friendships and, goes to small group at church with them now. And there are some weekends where we have to say no. She just can't she can't be in two places at one time, and because she has so many things that she can do, so many good friends.
Valerie, can you describe some of the projects that are happening in Indiana with Best Buddies?
Oh yeah, like where did you go Saturday?
To the mini Amazon.
You went to the bowling.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, it was Sunday.
Bowling.
They went bowling. They took 3 busloads of kids bowling.
Yep.
And what are some other things that we do? We have meetings every the first Tuesday of every month. What are some of the other things you did? You decorated pumpkins. We had a fire pit at our house on Halloween night. Oh my gosh, we have Best Buddy Prom. We have Best Buddy Friendship Dance. That was a couple weekends ago. We have Best Buddies goes down to a festival that we have every fall in Zionsville. It's kind of a sleepy little town outside of Indianapolis, and there's a carnival over Labor Day weekend. The kids all go to that. It's awesome,
Yeah.
Well, I would like to know if you go back to your first show, and then and if you look back to all the developments that are happening until today, what changes did you see that are happening in the show itself? In your interactions, between you, Sarah, and the buddies.
I think I'm watching Sarah mature, which is natural. She's 16 and she is, maturing. I love to see her independence, her ability to speak on camera, just the poise that it takes. When we go to just functions in our community, her ability to look at adults in the eye and shake their hand and say, it's a pleasure to meet you. You all know it's hard to be on camera. And literally, she can be having the worst day and that camera goes on and she can just she can get it together, and that's a very unique skill set, and that's going to help her in the future. And I think, sometimes I wish we could go back to the beginning where all we did was take a camcorder and put it on a little tripod and tape it. Now we have sound and multiple cameras and lighting, and it's crazy, but it's a very exciting process to be part of. Would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Our kitchen gets crazy. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's amazing that you're putting out really nice quality videos, and quite envious, really, of the quality of the video. Cause,
Thank you.
Thank you.
That makes us feel good.
Yeah, ours is pretty flaky. It's dependent on the internet connection.
Yeah. Oh, and media is crazy. Media is crazy. And it's we like to say, hurry up and wait.
Yes. Yeah. But you 41 episodes is a lot. That's a significant output. So
yeah.
Well done. And I
Thank
see
you.
You made dog biscuits for your last show.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to do a few, Neil.
Pardon?
You need to do a few.
A few dog biscuits.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've got my packet of bribes here for the dog under the desk.
Show us your dog, Neil.
Oh, he's disappeared. He's actually got Bon. Come here.
This will probably be the highest rated AXSchat because the dog will be shown.
Oh yeah.
That's the other crazy part about media, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Right. Okay. So
what people will like.
This is Bon Bon.
Hi, Bon Bon.
Hi, Bon Bon.
We need to find, you need to have a dedicated camera just for him. So we need to start having 5 on the stream.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to ask the question?
That's right. That's right.
He's
Oh,
already, he's now, as you can see, Valerie, Bonbon is very comfortable with the camera.
Yes.
Yes.
yeah. He's also very comfortable with. Well, he's very comfortable because he's chubby, so he's well padded.
Yes.
He likes his food. Mhm. So, excuse me. So we're going back to the best buddies thing. You you were talking about how the best buddies is active in the school, but before we started recording, you also said that you're very deeply involved with best buddies as well.
Yes, I am on the board here in Indiana, and so it really means a lot to me because I believe it changes culture at a very pivotal age in children. So they can start as early as elementary school. There's just a few chapters in elementary, but some in middle school and then high school and college. And now they've started a program for adults called the Champions Program. But if you can take a child, a 10, 11, 12 through 18-year-old, young person and change the way they see people with disabilities, then you have changed culture at the root. And these kids do not care what you look like, what color your skin is, if you have a disability, if you don't, and the way you talk. And so it's a beautiful sight to see. And then what they do is they change communities and they change the way employers think about people for jobs. If I grew up with that, I'm not really going to have a big issue with someone with Down syndrome working in my business, and because you realize it's not a big deal,
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
In the
So
UK,
I'm a big fan.
yeah, no, they sound like a great organisation. Certainly in the UK, there are a couple of mainstream uh, big stores. So mainly a good one that I recognise is a company called B&Q. They're a hardware store, big hardware store, and they employ a lot of people with Down syndrome. And it's one of the really noticeable things about the store, and one that I think gets a lot of positive reactions, because actually, yeah, there's no reason why people should be excluded from work. People are
No.
perfectly capable of working. We want to encourage people to have careers and a
Yep.
good job and a good life. And yes, you're right. It starts young. The
Yeah.
younger we start getting everyone, understanding and accepting the differences and diversity with people,
Yep.
the more accepting they are as they get older and go into the workplace.
Yeah. And I think, that's what we're trying to do with Sarah's Great Day. And when people see Sarah, we're pretty active in the community. I remember when I found out that Sarah had Down syndrome, we didn't know beforehand. I had a lot of misconceptions. And that is a terrible thing to have. And so then, all of a sudden this baby, wasn't doing all these things that they said, isn't that sweet, was going to happen. And I thought, I am going to do everything in my power for the rest of my life to make sure that nobody is afraid of this. Because it's not true. It's a lie. And I see us making great strides. Young parents, they really truly, from what I see on, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, they really don't care if their child has a disability. They want to make sure they're cared for and medically cared for, and they have a meaningful life. But I don't see them, getting upset about it. And it's real incredible to watch it change just from when she was born 16 years ago. And just the changes since Sarah's show has started in 2 years. Now we have people starting coffee companies and breweries, and it's like all these parents have become entrepreneurs, and they're just taking, Deborah, you and Sarah, it's just like, okay, what are my child's talents? Let's go. What are my talents? What are your talents? And we're going to take off, and we're going to go on this great ride that changes the world. And it's exciting and exhilarating, and really, when you think about how all great societies start, they start with family business, and so you're doing what people used to do, which was start a business with your family and watch it grow. And I know you know that, Deborah.
I agree that entrepreneurs, it's a very, very big part of this topic. And yeah. I do want to say that one thing that with my Sarah, when my Sarah was growing up, and it was very hard to understand her sometimes.
Yeah.
People would not always understand what Sarah was saying. Yep. And she would be so patient, repeating herself over and over again. And one of the things that, we were trying to get her speech therapy, but the reality was the speech therapist had way too many children and did not really have time or the funding to really give her the speech therapist one-on-one that she needed. But the thing that helped my Sarah with her communication skills more than anything else was when she joined theater arts, and she had to go on stage, and she had to learn to really say her words more clearly so the audience could understand and project and do all those things. She became a very good communicator, and she's like your Sarah reminds me of my Sarah, because she's very social, and when she meets people, she sticks her hands out, she introduces herself. So communications is a very, very important skill for everyone, but certainly for people with Down syndrome. So it's very interesting how the cooking show has really helped Sarah blossom in probably unexpected ways.
Yep.
Not to mention the power of advocacy and leadership that we've seen from it as well. So I think that's interesting. But entrepreneurship for families that have a family member with disabilities, or entrepreneurship for people with disabilities, I think is a very important part of the conversation of disability inclusion.
Absolutely. And it is hot right now. I mean, it just really is. I love to watch it. When Sarah and I did our first show March 3rd, 2013, and we did 5 shows, which you guys know with media and producers and stuff, sometimes they take those shows. So those shows are gone, and we don't have access to them, which is part of the reason I started my own production company, so I didn't have to deal with that again. But in 2013, Sarah's Great Day was a big deal. We were on the front page of the paper and our local paper, and, asked to be on the morning talk shows in Indianapolis. And and now, I'll be honest with you, I mean, there's a lot of noise out there. It isn't, there's lots of people doing incredible things that have disabilities, and Sarah is just one part of that. But I think she was part of the catalyst that, that started that whole movement of entrepreneurial skills and, thinking outside of the box as parents, and not just saying, okay, this is what they say you're supposed to do now, and so do it. No, and now it's just, the barn door's open. Let's go,
I agree.
We've actually featured quite a lot about entrepreneurialism for people with disabilities.
Yep.
As part of AXSchat, and some of it's born out of necessity, because people are unable to find jobs through normal means. But equally, I think that there is a societal shift going on anyway. People are not working for a lifetime for one big company. No. They're going out, they're starting stuff for themselves. the way that we're connected now internationally via the internet means that you can work with people like we're doing here, sat across 3 different continents.
Yeah, which is very exciting.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
Sarah can tell, she has world history. She'll go back to world history at school and she can tell Mr. Magoni that she spoke with someone from Scotland and England and Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Ireland.
Ireland. Sorry about that, Antonio. Hey, did you see our episode from the Ballymaloo Cookery School?
No.
It's called Stripey Kittens. You have to watch it. But we had a chef from the United States who trained at Ballymaloo Cookery in Cork, Ireland.
Yes, no, that's Ballymaloo is just it's close to it's very close to Cork.
Yeah.
And Cork,
Yeah.
Cork is known as the food capital of Ireland.
Yep. Started the food to table movement, I believe.
Yes, just a few minutes from my house, we have the most famous market in Cork.
Yep.
So it's where they have the fresh produce. It's a very it's a well-known place. It receives hundreds of visits every day. People want to see what is.
Oh yeah.
It's a very interesting place, and food is in. Over the last couple of years, I have to say there's quite a good number of changes in the Cork food scene. We have a lot of diversity. A lot of startups have started in the food business, so we see a lot of innovation in relation to food and well-being. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it is a wonderful story how they did that. So. But that's a great episode. You'll have to watch that, Antonio.
Okay, I will. Are you in the way how you plan your programs and you choose your agenda in terms about what you are going to do next? How you do that is let's say Sarah tells you I would like to do this, or you realize okay maybe this should be fun. Let's try it. So how is that working for you too?
What we do is we kind of look for what is kind of popular, and kind of what the season is. Our production is a little bit sketchy sometimes, so we don't always get to tie everything in with the time of the year. But what we are looking for is simple recipes that really truly can be done by children or by elderly or anybody who has limited fine motor skills, and that incorporates, somebody is tired here, and that incorporates, fine motor skills, like chopping or, piecing something together so you have that hand-eye coordination or something like that. We're very, very tricky, and we're doing fun therapy on the show and most people don't even know it. So that's what we do. If we have a guest on, if they're really good cooks, we have them bring their favorite recipe. But it's stuff that I know Sarah would like, I know the kids would like. Who doesn't like blueberry lemon frozen yogurt, in the summer with a bumper blueberry crop in Indiana. So yeah.
So Valerie and Sarah, what are your hopes for the show? I mean, I would love to see it get some syndication on like the Oprah Winfrey Network or the Cooking Channel or something like that. I mean, what are your hopes and dreams for the cooking show?
What are yours, Sarah? We'll ask Sarah first.
Okay.
What are your hopes and dreams for the cooking show?
Well, I work so hard.
You do work hard.
Mm-hmm. And then I try to help my mom.
And she helps me a lot. Yes, she does. Do you want to keep doing Sarah's Great Day?
Um, yeah.
Yeah. We have, I hope are we still connected?
We are.
Because Antonio is circling. Okay. I think we are expanding. We're kind of going into some more lifestyle type shows. So starting in January, Sarah is going to start working with a personal trainer. She loves to box. This is again, Neil, where technology just really helps because you've got the Wii game and Sarah has become an expert boxer. Yeah. So she's going to do things like boxing, and we're really going to work on really, getting her muscle strength, eating healthy. We're bringing in some other parties in the state of Indiana that are interested in health. But the cooking show is always going to be the anchor of it. We will always do cooking shows. I think the other thing is we are branching out into some other areas. We are doing production for other, yes, we are doing production for other companies. And we also did a series called Conversations where we discuss with a family, my husband and I, where we discuss a family that lost a child with special needs and then adopted a child with special needs. And it's just a great story, again, telling people you're going to be okay. We're doing some documentaries now where I'm actually producing and not shooting or anything, but I'm producing to tell these great stories about people with disabilities. We've got 2 in the works right now. One is about a woman who was not disabled, became disabled, received a pill one day, is no longer disabled, but she only has a matter of time to tell her story because she has early onset Parkinson's. And so she has this little time to say, folks, this is what it's like to be disabled. We can't do this anymore. This is wrong. You're on the sidelines. And it's just a great story. And then the other story is I've gotten very close to a lot of young people with special needs in my area. And so I've got a young woman with cerebral palsy who is a phenomenal news anchor person and trying to find her work. And, I've got a young man, and I won't use his name just because I don't know if I can, but he is a quad with cerebral palsy, but he has a degree. And how do we employ people that have needs in the workplace like that? And so I don't know the answer to this, but it's the question. It's got to go out there. We have to start talking about it and how technology can make that happen. And so getting organizations and businesses here in Indianapolis saying, okay, we've got to address this. We don't know how yet, but we have to address it.
Well, hopefully people like myself can help with some of that because my day job is providing assistive tech. So
I would love that. But it's kind of the next evolution of, I think, of where we are in disabilities is, we're making a lot of progress, but there is this group of people that are truly being left behind. And businesses do not know how to employ a quadriplegic. They don't. No. And you can talk till you're blue in the face and they don't know how to do that. So how do we use technology to get them into the workplace? And I think we've got to have this conversation.
It's certainly tricky, but we support people that are quite in some of the businesses that I provide services to. So it's not impossible. Obviously, there are significant adjustments that need to be made, and you need support work and you need technology in spades to make it feasible, but it's all doable. And we have people in our legislature, in the House of Lords, that are quadriplegic as well. That also, they're there. They're part of
Yep.
our governance of our country. So it's not like people cannot contribute. There's
Yep.
absolutely a valid contribution for everyone to make in society.
Yep.
But yes,
Neil.
you need the know-how. You need to be able
Yeah.
to.
Let me interrupt, Valerie.
Yes.
I think so. So what you say is, how do we explain this to business? How can we make them understand that that's possible to do? Probably that's the thing that is missing a bit, no?
Yeah, I see it on the business end as the problem. I am a huge capitalist, pro business. I'm not trying to pick on anybody here, but I've met with companies before about people that have limited mobility, and I'm just going, I tell them, when they get back to me and say no, I just tell them, I'm like, well, I am going to be calling you again. And it's this, this slow conversation that you just have to keep feeding them to get them on board.
Things don't change overnight, do they?
No.
You have to have a great deal of persistence to make that kind of change, and that's something that we see in all of our guests. People are very single-minded. They may be open-minded, but they're also very single-minded.
Yeah.
It's a recurring theme. You've got deep focus, and that's why we admire what you're doing, because you're obviously very deeply focused on making a change for the better.
And Neil, this is what I think from just talking with businesses and organizations. I believe they want to do it. I truly do. They believe it needs to happen, and they just don't know how. And so that's where we have to be that bridge of bringing them together, and we just have to do that. I mean, I can't imagine not being told that you can't work and you want to work. That's a basic desire and need.
Absolutely. Deborah, do you have any final questions before we wrap up?
Well, the more of a comment.
Okay.
Obviously, I agree with everything you're saying, Valerie, and that's the work that my Sarah and I have, taken on.
Yep.
We need many voices, and we need to make sure that I think media, as you know, I think is a very, very important part of it. That's why we focus so much on social media, but we need to really tell the stories. We need to document the stories. There are many success stories that have already happened, but the problem is a lot of employers don't know about those stories.
Yep.
And so many of them are, like you said, they're more than happy to do it, but often the community of people with disabilities are accidentally sending the wrong message to the employers, using the wrong language, saying carve up your business, your work. And so we all have to get on the same page and definitely make sure that not only do we help these employers be successful, but then we reward those employers by families like ours actually deciding, I'm not doing business with any company that doesn't support people with disabilities. So if I know that Walgreens in the United States employs people with intellectual disabilities, I, as a family of 4, will make sure that Walgreens is the pharmacy that I select to use. And I actually changed my buying from another company that competes with Walgreens that did not include people with disabilities in the workforce. But then that's not enough. I have to write, and I did, a letter to the CEO of Walgreens telling him why I'm changing. And I wrote a letter to the other CEO, I won't mention the company, and told them why I was leaving his his brand when I had been a loyal customer for 25 years.
Yep.
And then we have to talk about it on social media. So we, as the community of people with disabilities, we also have to do our part and rewarding the brands that are actually the effort. And I'll give Atos a shout out here. Atos has been very supportive of Antonio and Neil as we do AXSchat, and they are employers of people with disabilities, and they accommodate employees, and they're not perfect, like any other corporation isn't perfect, but they are trying, and so we need to applaud and reward the corporations that are actually trying to do this and teach them along the way. So it's a multi-dimensional problem solution, and part of it is having families like yours tell us that we know that Sarah can be a very successful cooking program, and we need to get that out and have everybody see it and see the gifts that Sarah brings to the table. She's obviously a very poised, beautiful young woman that has a lot of talents. So we're really.
She's blushing. Deborah, and you are so right. We have to, as a community, we're very strong. I mean, just in the United States, close to 25% disabled. So we have to support companies that support our loved ones. And we have to become that same strong voice that other groups do. And we just have to.
Thank you so much. We're at the end of our half hour now. It's been a really brilliant chat. So I'd like to look forward to our chat on Twitter tomorrow night.
Yes, can't wait.
All right, so thank you and goodbye, Valerie and Sarah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.